You know that feeling when you take a personality test and it feels like it just gets you? It's that powerful moment of recognition, right? Well, today we're going to dive deep into one of the rarest and most complex personality types out there, the INFJ, to see what makes them tick.
So to really get a handle on the INFJ, we're going to start with a quick rundown of the system they come from, the Myers-Briggs. From there, we'll introduce the INFJ, peek inside their inner world, and then see how all these unique traits actually show up in real life.
All right, let's start at the beginning. The Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, you've probably heard it called the MBTI, is basically a framework to help us understand our own natural preferences. And look, it's not about stuffing people into boxes. It's really more about appreciating all the different ways we see the world and make our decisions. We've all seen those four-letter codes floating around. You know, INFJ, ESTP, all that. But what do they actually mean? Well, at its core, the whole MBTI framework sorts personalities into 16 types based on where you land on four key spectrums.
Okay, this table here breaks it all down. So there are four pairs of preferences. First up, where do you focus your energy? Is it outward with people? That's extroversion. Or is it inward in your own thoughts? That's introversion. Second, how you take in information. Do you focus on concrete facts, sensing, or on patterns and possibilities? That's intuition. Third is how you make decisions. Is it with logic, thinking, or with your values and how it affects people, feeling? And last, your lifestyle. Do you like things planned and structured, judging, or are you more flexible and spontaneous, perceiving? So when you take one preference from each of those four pairs and put them together, you get a unique four-letter code. And boom, that simple formula is how we get the 16 different personality types, each one with its own totally unique way of looking at the world. And what's really important to remember is that all types are valuable. There's no best one to be. Each code just describes a different set of natural tendencies. Today, though, we're putting our magnifying glass on one of the most fascinating of them all, the INFJ. So who is the INFJ? Well, they're often called the advocate, and they're defined by this really powerful mix of intuition and empathy. They're total idealists, but here's the kicker. They aren't just daydreamers. They have this quiet, intense drive to make their vision for a better world actually happen. And here's what immediately sets the INFJ apart. Their rarity. Get this, they make up less than 2% of the entire population. That's a huge reason why their perspective can feel so unique, and honestly, why they can sometimes feel pretty misunderstood. This quote really hits the nail on the head. INFJs are always, and I mean always, looking for a deeper meaning. For them, life isn't about just skating on the surface. It's about finding purpose, forging real connections, and really understanding what drives people. These core traits here paint such an interesting picture, right? You've got this visionary and idealistic side, but it's balanced by an organized and decisive nature. So they don't just see a better future, they actually make a plan to get there. They're deeply empathetic and insightful, yet at the same time, they're incredibly reserved and private. It's that combination of a rich inner world and a quiet outer shell that really defines them. Okay, to truly get what makes an INFJ tick, we have to look deeper than just those four letters. We need to pop the hood and look at their mental toolkit, what the system calls cognitive functions. This is the stuff that explains the why behind everything they do. Think of your personality like a car. Every type has a driver that's always in control. That's your dominant function. Then you've got a helpful co-pilot right next to them, the auxiliary function. The other two, the tertiary and inferior functions, they play smaller roles, but they're still along for the ride. The INFJ's driver is something called Introverted Intuition, or NI for short. And honestly, it's their superpower. It's this unconscious process that's always connecting the dots, seeing hidden patterns and looking toward the future. It's like seeing the entire chessboard, not just the piece in front of you. This is where that visionary quality comes from. They often just know things without always being able to explain how. And their co-pilot, that's extroverted feeling, or FE. This function is like a social radar. It tunes them right into the emotions and needs of the people around them. It's what makes them spot the one person feeling left out in a crowded room and just know what to do. This is what drives that desire to create harmony and help people. This is the advocate in action. So what happens when you mix that powerful, future-seeing intuition with a deep, genuine empathy for other people? Let's take a look at how this all plays out in an INFJ's day-to-day life, looking at both their biggest strengths and some of their biggest challenges. When it comes to their strengths, INFJs are pretty remarkable.
They have this almost uncanny ability to understand what someone else is feeling, which makes them incredible friends, counselors, and listeners. And because they're so organized, they don't just dream about a better world, they actually create step-by-step plans to make it happen, all while building these incredibly deep, authentic connections.
But of course, the flip side of those amazing strengths can be some real challenges. That deep empathy, it can be absolutely draining, often leading to serious burnout. They hold themselves, and sometimes others, to these impossibly high standards. And because they're so private, they can find it really hard to open up, often putting the needs of everyone else way ahead of their own.
So it's no surprise that this intense search for purpose shapes their careers. You'll find INFJs all over the place, but they often gravitate to roles where they can help guide people and work for a cause they believe in. Things like counseling, teaching, writing, you name it. It all comes back to that deep, inner need for their work to mean something. At the end of the day, personality models like the MBTI aren't really about slapping a label on yourself and calling it a day. They're tools. They're frameworks for being more self-aware. They don't give you all the answers, but man, they can help you ask some much better questions. The real goal isn't finding a box to fit in, but maybe, just maybe, finding a doorway to understanding ourselves and each other a little bit better.